So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Who Talks First. I am one of your hosts, CT.
And I'm your other host. My name is Solo.
And we are finally done.
We're here. Day 5.
Day 5 of podcast week. It is so windy outside.
It is. I love it.
So apologize in advance if you hear somebody whistling. It's just really, really windy where
It's
we
our
are
ghost.
right now. And our Force Ghost.
It's our Force Ghost.
That's happening. But anyway, all this week we have done a podcast every day for you guys talking about our time at Celebration. And we've talked about The Last Jedi poster, the teaser, our experience, Galactic Knights, Rebels, all of the above. And so we thought today would just be our wrap-up episode.
Yeah, the We Might Have Missed Some Things episode.
So we're gonna call it, Is It Really The Last Jedi? Because I feel like that covers everything that we really want to talk about in this episode. So we'll start off with a big question. Do you think Luke is really going to be the last Jedi?
No. I think that he's going to be the last Jedi as we know Jedi to be. I think Rey might become a Jedi, and that Kylo might turn back to being a Jedi, but they will not follow the teachings nearly the same way that our Jedi have in the past.
And we're going to bring up some fandom discourse.
Oh, yes.
Because both me and Solo are big proprietors of the blanket term Grey Jedi.
Right.
And it's been causing a lot of, fandom discrepancies because it's not a canon thing.
No.
Technically. But it's basically what I've used it for and the people that I also know use it for. Basically, just how to describe characters who are Force-sensitive and may have ties to Jedi, but they don't consider themselves Jedi. Examples, Ahsoka Tano.
Yes. Ahsoka's the perfect example.
It's again, we don't expect it to ever be a canon term. It's just an easy way to describe characters that don't have faith in the Jedi Order and don't have faith in all of the Jedi teachings, but Ahsoka still lives by a lot of them.
Yes. She's what I would call neutral good in RPG and D&D terms.
Oh, yeah.
Where Jedi are supposed to be lawful good, she turned more neutral good. She will still always do good, but she decides what that good is. And if someone gives her an order that she wouldn't want to follow, she'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Whereas Jedi are supposed to just kind of listen to whatever they're told to do. And
And especially near the end of the reign of the Jedi, they were basically just servants of the Republic.
They had turned into a giant military faction.
They were warriors, and they were basically becoming just as bad as the people they were fighting against, and they didn't see that. They didn't see it, how this happened, how the Sith basically turned them into warriors for the Sith, essentially. So,
to fight their war.
In some weird way, the Jedi all essentially were working for the Sith. And not in a weird way. Blatantly.
Yep.
Palpatine, they were working for Palpatine.
Yep. It was all for a big tool of war.
Basically, it's become a bit of this drama in the fan community for some reason, which I don't get, because people are thinking that we think that Grey Jedi is going to be the canonical term. And no, I don't think that at all. It's just how we describe...
I'm not going to say a moderate Jedi. That just sounds dumb.
Anyway, despite the weird argument over the color, it's basically just where we think the direction of the Jedi are going. And I think it's so obvious with the introductions of characters like Bendu, who very much represent the middle. If Bendu hadn't said it 20,000 times.
Oh my god, I am not the light, I am not the darkness, I am the in-between,
The one entry from the Journal of the Wills, which basically, I read it in one of our videos, but ends with, first comes the day and then comes the night, and all becomes resolving of gray through refined Jedi sight.
Yeah, here's the spoiler alert. We call them Grey Jedi because one represents light and one represents dark, and when you mix white and black together, you get gray.
There you go.
But to be even more literal, Ahsoka has gray lightsabers at the end. Come on, guys.
I just don't understand the debacle and anger that it's caused, especially when there's so much talk about the term gray, and even in the Aftermath series, these acolytes keep talking about the light, the dark, and the gray. They keep saying that there's like this gray area. So I'm like, what? Just let people use the term, guys. Yeah. It's not like, I don't know, but I think it's very clear that the direction of these films are going is that one can't exist without the other, and that the Jedi were so convinced that balance meant eliminating the Sith. But
that's not balanced.
That's not balanced.
At all.
And that's why Anakin proved to be the chosen one, because he eliminated both the Jedi and the Sith. That both of them went up in flames.
And if his secret coming forth is the reason why Luke also abandons the Jedi, then it's even more poetic.
And, like, again, I think we talked about this a bit in our teaser breakdown. Luke's character is going to be so absolutely
It'll be very
interesting to me, because I can't really think about another way that they're going to take him unless I got either he's gotten too in touch with the dark side, or, in my opinion, I think he's probably too dedicated to the Jedi teachings that he didn't know enough about them. Obi-Wan never really told him that much about the errors of the Jedi teachings.
Well, yeah, he didn't really have much time.
No, he really didn't. I mean, Force Ghost could have talked to him about it, being like, hey, I don't know. But it makes more sense. I mean, obviously, it does kind of undo a little bit of what Luke kind of learned at the end of Return of the Jedi, because I feel like a big part of the end of Return of the Jedi was Luke accepting his own dark side and accepting who his father was. But
that's why I see more of him, like, going overboard and dedicating himself too much to the light, rather than him, like, getting tainted again. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like he's already had that.
Unless I feel like one or the other has had to have happened for us to have this sort of discrepancy and change. I feel like he's got to have dedicated himself.
Him abandoning his sister for so long and not being there for her, like, that just seems weird to me. Because I know that he has his own mission, she has her own mission too, but for a long time in the novels especially, she needed Luke to be there and he wasn't.
No. So I think it's honestly the way to make it make the most sense is if Luke started really living by these teachings and didn't even tell Han and Leia about it. He was just like, oh, we're supposed to serve people as a whole and not be any more attached to one group of people, and that's why he kind of separated himself from Han and Leia.
Which would make sense, because he was like, they'll be fine, these people need me. And you're like, well... And
he kind of went about finding all of these Jedi heirlooms and made this huge temple, school, academy thing that we see in the teaser, and assumingly Kylo just burns it. Just knocks over a lamp. It's an accident.
He's like, oopsies. He's trying to use the Force to lift a large oil lamp, one that is too heavy, and Luke says, no, it's too much, and he's like, I'll show you. Oh no, I burnt down the whole place.
Oh god.
Oh god, no, he's gonna be so mean.
So we kind of bypassed it a little bit. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit to Ahsoka.
Yes.
Just because we totally didn't talk about it in our Rebels.
Yeah, it totally escaped us.
That Ahsoka's coming back in some sort of way.
Maybe.
And a lot of people have taken that to mean that she's alive. And personally, this might be unfavorable to most. I want her to be dead. Especially because she has to die.
Well, I don't want her to be dead, but I think that's the best death that they could have given her.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the same thing I'll say about Kanan, and that they just have to die, and they gave Ahsoka a beautiful exit. And the fact if they bring her back and she's alive, there's no better way for her to leave. Anakin killing Ahsoka is the most, tragic but fulfilling arc that they could have given her, especially because she needs to be gone by the time Luke shows up.
Absolutely.
All the Force-sensitive people who were trained need to be gone by the time Luke shows up.
Yeah.
There's that, again, He's the last Jedi.
Yeah.
And even if people like Ahsoka and Kanan or Ezra stop calling themselves Jedi, they're still very loyal to the cause.
And they would be a part of the rebellion. And it doesn't make any sense for them not to be there later.
And they still have their Force connectivity, so even if they're not Jedi, they're still Force sensitive. It just seems
and very
odd.
All of them are strongly Force sensitive, too, so... It's just... It wouldn't make any sense if Ahsoka just walked away and we never saw her again, like, fight for other people. You know what I mean? So, Ahsoka has to be dead.
And, I mean, obviously, if she does come back and she's alive, I think it's going to be...
Then I think we're just going to get this weird, open-ended BS that I'm not going to be happy with.
I love Ahsoka.
Yeah, I could cry about it right now. But I don't want her to be dead. But I fall in love with these characters that exist before the original trilogy, and thus I know that I shouldn't get attached to them, but yet I still do.
So, you still do. And she just needs to make her exit. And I think the most powerful way they could have done that is her choosing to stay with Anakin and when the temple is being destroyed.
I mean, it's exactly the same thing that I feel about, even though Ahsoka's death is way better than Obi-Wan's death, but it's the same thing that Obi-Wan goes into that and, like, he knows he's gonna die.
Oh, yeah.
He knows that this is the last time. It's like, it's over. He's like, but here I am. I'm either gonna take you down with me, but I'm gonna be here in your, like, in one of our final moments.
He's mostly just keeping him away from Luke.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what, I want to be a distraction, because Obi-Wan's dedicated the last 20 years of his life to Luke. And at this point, again, Obi-Wan thinks Luke is the chosen one. We do know it is Anakin. Anakin still is the chosen one, regardless. Yes. But he's there to protect Luke, and he goes out protecting Luke.
Yeah.
Becoming more powerful than you know.
I can't... The way that I picture Ahsoka is going to make her return is that Ezra is going to find his way inside a Jedi temple, and it's not going to be a Force ghost because Ahsoka can't become a Force ghost, but it's going to be one of those Force visions that characters have where they kind of have to deal with some of their guilts or like their fears, and that's when Ahsoka will manifest herself to Ezra. It won't actually be Ahsoka. It'll be like his own guilt.
Yeah.
But that's how we'll see her.
Because we see that even on the Mortis arc.
Yep.
Where Obi-Wan sees Qui-Gon, even though Qui-Gon could sort of become a Force ghost. That he could wasn't be a Force really voice. Qui-Gon. Yeah, like, because he sees a physical manifestation of Qui-Gon. Ahsoka sees a physical manifestation of herself, telling her that if she stays with Anakin, she's going to die.
Yeah.
And then Anakin sees that his mom.
Beautiful. Because if she stays with Anakin, she's gonna die. And then he kills her in the end. Like, it's beautiful. It's unbelievably tragic.
And horrible, but that's honestly the best complete story you could have given this character.
Yeah. Especially
a character that didn't quite fit in with the movie storylines.
Yeah.
And that's actually what a lot of people had their biggest issues with Ahsoka is.
Yeah, that was most people's biggest issues with her in the beginning. Well, if she was so important, why wasn't she in the movie? Blah, blah, blah. Well, because she dies before the movies.
Well,
because she has a tragic death. Well,
she technically is still alive during Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, but
I think
she's
I think her death scene in Rebels, if it proves to be a death scene, is a proper way for her physical body to be gone. I think she can come back again in some sort of vision, maybe like some holocron message,
or something. Yeah,
some recorded message that she has.
Don't get me wrong. I think it'd be super cute if Rex had like a little holocron of her or something.
Oh God! Why did you bring that up?
Just because I'm sad, and I really like Ahsoka, and I really like Rex, and I'm like, I'm gonna cry.
But yeah, so those.
So I don't want her to be dead, guys. I'm getting really emotional right now. I'm 100% crying. But she just has to. I don't know how many times I have to say, like, she kind of just has to be dead. I want at least a good death for her. I want her story to have a proper ending.
That's why I kind of wish, I hope for Rebels that she has already
Yeah, because...
But before people bring up but you saw her walking into the temple, does that mean she's still alive? Honestly, that could have been more of a symbolic thing because that perfectly echoed how she exited...
Walked out of the temple. The Jedi Order.
The Jedi Order in Clone Wars, and I think that was more of a symbolic thing of this is Ahsoka's end, and she kind of just disappeared into the cave.
Yeah. Because Season 4 is going to need to have so many things in it that there's not going to be time for a proper death of Ahsoka.
Especially when we need them for Ezra and Kanan.
Yeah.
And I still don't know how they're going to do that.
Me either.
And I feel like those are very important, especially Kanan. Unless they do, like we talked about, the weird Bendu lion turtle / Amon thing, where the Bendu just takes away their force powers, which honestly, a little part of me thinks that might be the case.
I mean...
Because Bendu's ain't the biggest fan of Kanan right now.
And also, it's Disney. It's Disney XD.
Yeah.
If it were a movie, I'd be like, we just had Rogue One, but this is Disney XD. And I don't think that they have the balls that Clone Wars did.
No.
In fact, I know that they don't.
It'll be very interesting to see how they wrap up those characters. Yeah. And again, me being who I am, I hope that they're able to take some risks, but
It's your last season, take the risks. Come on.
Do it.
Come on, guys.
It'll be absolutely great. So, those Jedi have to be gone, but we'll fast forward to our, sequel trilogy characters, and what do we think about Luke thinking that the Jedi have to end? Like, what did he find out? Do you think that this is where I'm kind of speculating, or I can't even, I don't know what he learned about it, or that he realized what he forced upon his nephew is what turned him, because I'm on a different boat than a lot of people. I think Kylo / Ben was kind of forced into the becoming a Jedi when he didn't really want to. Because
in the novelization, his father just wants him to be normal, so I can definitely see Kylo being like, I want to ignore this. Because my force sensitivity causes so much problems between my family.
I think so.
Especially between my mom and my dad.
And he doesn't go to Luke willingly. Leia flat out says... We sent him away.
Yeah.
The issue is when we sent him away. So I don't think Kylo even wanted to go. I think he was in a boat where he kind of just wished he was normal at a certain point. And because he saw exactly what you were saying. The issues he was causing between his parents.
Especially because... if you're writing this from a realistic standpoint, kids are so susceptible to that. They notice when parents will always be like, it's not you, we're not fighting because of you. But that kid is going to absolutely think it's them. They're going to think that they are the problem.
And especially when they go and send you away.
Yeah, because of you're different.
Your problems.
Yeah.
And I think it was in Bloodline, Leia even has this inner dialogue about the discourse her and Han went through when they were worrying about Ben, and that they were just constantly worried about him because he was obviously going through some stuff, and we'll send him away to Luke, and Han and Leia probably just had this image of Luke
of being this bright shiny beacon.
Also, Luke is so adamant of Leia becoming a Jedi too. It's almost a little bit eerie with how much he's wants Leia to basically join him.
And of course Leia and Han grew up in a time where there weren't any Jedi, so they only know stories. And so of course they're not going to know the teachings, they're not going to know anything about that. They're just going to kind of have them up on this pedestal, or at least Leia, of being these good beings. Han's like, yeah, whatever, it's all nonsense.
So I do love, Han was 10 years old when all the Jedi were killed. Han, and he's like, oh, mumbo jumbo. I'm like, you were 10. You're old enough to know that.
We don't know what kind of life he had.
That's true. Han Solo anthology, guys. We'll find out next May.
No, we won't, because he'll be 30 and we'll never know what his childhood was like, because the movie's taking place too late in his life.
Whoa. But it'll be really interesting to see how they play out Luke in this trio.
I am excited if it goes in the way that I've kind of wanted it to be, which is them exploring the not so subtle nuances of like religious zealotry. You know what I mean? Like even if your teachings are like so pure and good, and you
have
think
the
that
best intentions,
have the best intentions, sometimes it can lead to awful things happening, and it can lead to people turning.
And some things that work for you don't necessarily work for others.
Yeah.
Like, so when Rey obviously arrives to Ahch-To, do you think she is going there expecting to be taught the ways of the Jedi, or if she's just there to go get Luke and come back?
I think she's just there hoping to get some questions answered. I don't think she's going there expecting to get trained. I think she's here to be like, here's your lightsaber, I found it, I have a lot of questions, also Leia wants you.
Also, like, because I understand plot device. Obviously, Rey is the one to go get Luke. And why is it you think, honestly, it would be Leia? I am so sad that we won't be able to see Leia's arc fully played out.
Me too.
Because I do find it really interesting that she doesn't leave the base. And obviously she's going to leave Dakar event because they have to. But I'm not sure if they would ever even explain it, that it was always really interesting to me that neither Leia or Han ever went after their son. At least to the degree of seeing him again.
I mean, I also think it's weird, and that's why I have this joke of them being such bad parents, because I'm like, if you're so worried, then why don't you try to find
Especially
him?
Leia, when Leia has such faith that he's still good, but she herself isn't going after him too.
I think Leia's just in this point where she's dedicated herself to the rebellion so much, and she's kind of in the same headspace as Luke right now, where she's like, this is for the greater good, and I love my son, but these people need me.
Yeah, and obviously there has to be just some general, like, plots.
Right.
Plot devices to keep people certain places.
But Leia's been a part of this resistance since before she could talk, basically.
Like, I think it's, like, pretty tragic in itself that they mentioned in the script that when Han sees Kylo again, this is, like, the first time they've seen him.
As a grown man.
They explained that later as it just meant, like, he's seen, like, Kylo when he was older, but just kind of, like, seeing him again, it was just kind of, like, earth-shattering a little bit. And, like, as Kylo, I wonder how it feels. I mean, obviously, he's felt abandoned by his parents his entire life.
But for one of them finally went after him.
This is why, I mean, again, I love Han's death scene so much. Because Han goes from saying, better her than me, to when he first meets Leia, to literally dying for Leia, essentially. Because Leia's request is, bring him home.
Yeah.
And so he does that for Leia. And...
For Leia and... for his son.
And for his son, obviously.
It was a complete selfless action.
And Han thinks Ben's gone. He says that to Leia. Leia's like, no, he's not. There's still light in him. I feel it. I'm connected with him. And Han even has some, like, jealousy issues about that because he knows he's not as connected to Ben. And that was probably what even caused him distance originally. I smuggle, not snuggle. It's like I want a shirt that says that.
Should make it.
But that he just always from the beginning distanced himself a little bit, automatically knowing that because he wasn't Force sensitive, he would never have that same connection with his son. And that he just automatically thinks, he's like, no, he's gone.
He's gone, it's over. Which
It's
is so
done.
funny, as a man who used to be such a scumbag, he can't be like, well, I turned around.
I turned around.
And I mean, looking at Han Solo,
and I'll always be like, cheap shot Han when he just says there's too much Vader in him, basically blaming Leia.
Right.
Like, Leia's bloodline for what happened to their son.
And you're like, are you kidding me? I'm assuming you don't come from a very good family, Han.
Well, obviously, he is an orphan, so he didn't come from a family.
Right.
So...
But, I mean, he could be an orphan of tragedy, or he could just be an orphan of shitty parents.
I'm just so excited for Kylo's arc, and I hope they fulfill its potential. Right now, I'm thinking they're going to. Everything they've said, there hasn't been a single, like, rumor or something that's come out that I'm like, ew. Yeah. So far, I've liked everything.
I think that I do honestly feel like they realize now, in this second movie, that these have always been a Skywalker story. And so the central plot always needs to revolve around the Skywalker. And now I even more have, because I definitely think we're getting the Kylo stuff that we want, which makes me go, good, they've realized that Kylo is the Skywalker, and I'm putting to rest Rey Skywalker. And I feel confident of that.
Yeah, please.
Moving forward.
Well, that's why I am starting to think, I'm not putting all my eggs in this basket yet, but that we're getting Kylo back a lot sooner than originally thought. Again, I was kind of thinking it was going to be like climax of episode 9, and I still think he'll be kind of messed up throughout 9. But I think he, not even willingly, but I think Snoke's going to kick him to the curb at the end of this movie.
He might, yeah.
That Snoke's like, you and your stupid compassion that you keep feeling.
How many times have I told you not to do that?
No.
You'll be like, you sound just like my Uncle Luke, who told me that I couldn't feel these other things. Where do I belong? In the middle.
And and I'm hoping that's kind of what the destruction of the mask is like, because obviously he destroys his mask. We see that in the teaser. Like, a part of me is like, is like a gift from Snoke that Snoke like re-gives it to him, and then Kylo just is like, oh, you are just using me.
Yeah.
Like, you're giving me this intimidation factor, something to hide behind, gift back to me. And that's where he's kind of beginning to question more things. And I'll still probably be under this impression that he'll be a little worse in this movie, only because, given story formulas, that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, well, of course.
But everything that we've seen...
He's going to be so confused this movie, so of course he's going to be a little worse. I think he's going to be more angry and more confused now than ever. That's what I originally was thinking. Yeah. But, obviously I think he's going to be still very angry, very confused. But I don't think he's necessarily going to do anything. Obviously, I don't think he can do anything worse than killing Han. Oh, yeah. I should say I don't think his crimes are going to get any worse. Oh, okay. Because I don't think he's going to kill Han. I don't mean Han. Luke. Yeah, I don't think he's going to kill Luke. And I don't think he would touch Leia. I don't. And, obviously they have some weird complexities with how they're going to handle Leia. But with the story that I think they want to tell, and they keep using the word, like, this story about optimism and hope, that they wouldn't do that to, let alone Kylo or Leia or Luke, but to the other characters. And to me, it is basically all but confirmed Kylo's getting a redemption arc. With all the images of him in The Last Jedi so far, and how sad and, like, knightly he is and everything, he doesn't look like a villain anymore. No, he doesn't. He looks like a sad prince. He does. He looks like a sad, dark prince. He does. And even JJ said that in the commentary. He's the Beast. There's so many Beauty and the Beast parallels, man. It's true, though. He starts off super angry, and then Belle yells at him, and he's like, oh, well, now I'm just sad. And they even played the Beauty and the Beast. It's not really the Beauty and the Beast prologue, but in the new teaser, they did the do 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 do, which is like Rey's theme technically, but it sounds exactly like the prologue to Beauty and the Beast. Yep. Which probably coincidental, but is it though? Who made that theme? Was it a world-class composer? It's probably
A+ John Williams.
It's probably not accidental. Pretty sure he's familiar with other, like, key pieces of, like, cinematic.
Right now, again, even, like, with naming one of their characters Rose, this...
Yeah.
And again, BB-8, am I right?
No, I still don't give BB-8.
Beauty Beast 8, and then there's, like, so if you BATB, Beauty and the Beast, BB-8, it works.
No, guys, does it work? Comment down below.
This doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
I will laugh so hard if, like, 20 years from now, JJ's like, oh, we named Beauty and the, like, BB-8 after Beauty and the Beast. That's what the BB stands for. And I'll
be like, where did the 8 come
this
from?
Is a Beauty and the Beast
like,
story.
I don't know.
And JJ is so big on Star Wars being a fairy tale.
Oh, I mean, because it is.
100%.
It's not science fiction, guys.
I remember last year I tweeted something about a bunch of men were tweeting that women don't belong in science fiction and about Rogue One because it was like right after Felicity was announced, and I was like, well, good thing Star Wars is a fairy tale then.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people reblogged it thinking I was joking, like thinking that was like a sarcasm. I'm like, no, guys,
it's not science fiction. Look at it.
There's science fiction aspects to it because it takes place in space, but this is the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars is that Star Wars at its core is about magic.
Yeah.
The Force is
like 90%
spiritual magic.
90% of all of its technology is based in nothing scientific.
No.
Nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. They do not describe it. I mean, George Lucas had his, like, midichlorians.
He tried.
He tried to make it more sci-fi.
They were like, well, make it science fiction. It's a sci-fi, right? And he was like, sure? Yeah.
Even George Lucas at the end was like, no, Star Wars is a fairy tale. It's just a fairy tale in space. It's a space western.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a space western.
Even JJ going full out comparing Rey to Cinderella to next scene going like, oh, and there's Kylo and he kind of looks like a prince. And you're just kind of staring.
Kind of looks like a prince. He literally is one. Remember that he is Princess Leia's son.
Yep.
JJ.
That's... Oh my god, did they ever formally call him a prince?
Prince Ben
Organa. That will always disappoint me a little bit. That
he would take the royal last name, and especially after what has happened in real life, he needs to carry on the Organa name.
Because they kept Ben's last name hidden for so long, that's why I was almost positive it was going to be Organa. But again, Aftermath, the third one, confirmed that it was Solo. I can make my peace with it only because I know it's a marketing thing, is that they know that Solo is more marketable than Organa. But my angry fangirl will be like, he should have, it makes more sense for him to keep the Organa name.
It absolutely does. Bale did it. It's the royal last name. When you marry into royalty, the royal last name stays.
And especially when there's like that very small chance that Han Solo is not Han's real name.
Oh, I don't think it is.
But
I mean, Han might be. I don't think Solo is his last name. Is his real name.
I hope it is, only because I don't do that. Because they talked about in the Han Solo movie, like, they talk about how Han made his name, or like got his name, and I think again it was more got his name as a smuggler rather than writing his name as, like, oh, my name is Han Solo. And even Solo might not be his biological name, it might be a name someone assigned, because he's an orphan.
Yeah, no, I think it's just like what he got as a kid. You know what I mean?
Either way, it's not a family name that he has any attachment to. When
in my mind,
has this unbelievable weight to Leia. And again, maybe she wanted to be the last Organa, but I feel like that's not what she would have said at all. I feel like Leia, when gives birth, and like, what should we name him? I even feel like Han would be like, his last name's Organa. Like,
especially considering she, in like her comic, is all about keeping Alderaan alive.
Her and maybe doing it because she knows Han doesn't feel like he's gonna be that connected to this child, and so obviously we're talking about these characters like they're at all real, but
this is the way that you should always approach fiction in my mind, because that's what makes good fiction.
Come on, but I'll still be a little bitter.
Yeah, I'll always be a little bitter, but
it's a marketing reason. It's because he'll probably go by his real name eventually, and Solo is just more marketable.
If Han Solo gets the name Solo from him being an orphan as a kid, other like people just calling him Solo, I'm just gonna be like, oh, taking it straight out of Gundam Wing, huh? Because where have I read that before? Gundam Wing. That's where I get my handle from, by the way. Gundam Wing.
It is not actually. We keep talking about Solo, and you're like, God, fucking Solo. I'm like, her username has nothing to do with Star Wars.
No, it doesn't. It's got everything to do with Gundam Wing.
I still think that's just, like, the funniest thing.
It's the most fun, factiest thing
about our podcast, that Solo has nothing to do with Star Wars.
Yep, whenever someone's like, oh, the Solo, it must come from Star Wars. I'm like, no, I hate Han. I haven't liked Star Wars for a very long time. Now I'm very passionate about it, but I still am pretty salty.
You're welcome.
Han Solo. No, do not say you're welcome. Oh, this could be awful. This next movie could only go one of two ways.
I'll have someone to go through this with.
The shit person that lives in the same apartment as you.
It took me 6 months to, like, convert you.
Yeah, you did.
I'm like, hey, just slowly watch Clone Wars.
I was like, no. What's this first episode? Yoda? And you were like, don't watch it in that order. Watch it in this order. I'm like, oh.
And you start off with the clones.
And I was like, oh, these guys are pretty cool. Oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi is Anakin's attractive too? Who is this being? Ahsoka? I think I'm in love with her.
Rest in peace.
And then
And then I had somebody to talk to all the time.
Yep, and now we live together.
Well, we lived together before that, didn't we? We've known each other for 10 years, so it's been a long time.
It's true, we have, but remembering when I moved in is another thing.
Huh? Oh yeah, because you only moved in August.
Yep.
So this was before that, cause
yeah, I think I just used to come and visit and watch Clone Wars with you all the time.
Yep, I think that was it.
Yep. We used to Netflix and chill, as the kids say.
Ka-wink.
Ka-wink, ka-wink. Anyway,
about that. It'll be interesting to see if... Because I feel like Rey might be going to Luke expecting some sort of training, especially because she is the one who gets sent there opposed to anybody else.
I mean, Kyla does put in her head that she needs a teacher, and maybe she's like, maybe I do need a teacher.
Yeah, I kind of do. And I don't think that storyline's going to drop at all, and I think that's actually what the big poster is kind of representing, in a way, of these, like, two opposing, basically teachers.
Yeah.
And I think Luke's not going to want to do it, and Kylo's going to be like, guess who really wants to do it?
Me.
And
then Rey will be like, well, you're extreme, and I'm gonna walk the path between you two. And Kylo will be like, what? You can do that?
I just like,
I've been being pulled in so many of these different directions. You mean I could have been in the middle the whole time?
Been in the middle?
Ha!
Where Rey just kind of goes up to Luke wanting to be taught, and Kylo's just in her head being like, you son of a bitch! I offered, and you said no.
And then you hit me in the face.
And look at me, I'm a monster. And it's like, it looks like a cat scratched you. I'm hideous. This is what I have the issue with so many people when it comes to their... Because I don't want to say that any one view is wrong, but I think people are much too harsh with their expectations of these movies. More like they're expecting things to be much darker, and then I think they will be. Obviously, I think they're going to be very dark, but meaning that Kylo will die unredeemed, that
they're going to kill a bunch of people, and
Kylo's going to brutally murder...
He's going to try to murder Luke in his sleep or something, and you're like, no.
I think at the end of the day, and I hope that Lucasfilm still knows this, and they're still approaching movies, that these are stories for kids in the long run.
Yep.
Like, obviously TFA is a little bit older than, let's say, the prequels. But even the prequels at the end got pretty dark.
Yeah, because I wouldn't even say that TFA is too dark for kids.
Is TFA the only one that's rated PG-13?
Is it?
I don't know that. I could be making that up. Do you want to go look?
I can grab the DVD.
So, Revenge of the Sith is actually rated PG-13 too.
Which is the only one that I could really see maybe also being PG-13, but I feel like The Force Awakens is kind of unfair in a PG-13 rating because I just feel like it's that because of blasters. I feel like there's more blasters in the movie, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. They're all wars. They're all Star Wars.
Yeah, but growing up, I didn't even know that the stormtroopers were people inside. I just thought they were robots.
Another reason, like, why this movie makes a big point of there's people in these stormtrooper outfits.
Yeah, but they only did it once with Finn, and then Finn just goes and kills stormtroopers like it doesn't matter.
That's, again, why I'm really excited for Finn. And this is why I'm also really excited that Finn has like Kelly Marie Tran, where his character arc can kind of hard reset a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because Finn started off really strong. I feel like they just kind of lost track of his character arc at a certain point. Like, yeah, because of Rey. Mm-hmm. Rey just took over as the story leader. Mm-hmm.
He'd always go back.
I'm kind of glad he's getting the reset with Kelly Marie Tran, because at least what they're hinting with is that they're going to do what I wish they had done with him originally.
Where he kind of goes back and Mockingjays it?
Or no, well, I want him to be the Mockingjay, but also him not knowing how to deal with people things because he was a stormtrooper.
Right.
And I would have loved if that's how they dealt with his comedy, because he still could have easily been the comedic
All he
character.
needed to do was be the Drax for a better sense.
Yeah.
Like,
and he could still be the person who goes back
makes
people.
other people, and the audience will laugh because of him, but not because he's acting really, like, he's not overacting, essentially, but he would have the lines where he'd be like, I don't get why that's funny.
Yeah, because I do feel like with a lot of Finn's jokes, they were very intentional jokes, like Finn knew he was funny, which, I mean, that's fine, it's just as a stormtrooper.
Yeah. Who didn't really have a lot of friends.
That it didn't make a whole lot of sense, so I'm glad, like, with John Boyega, and that he said, especially with the whole romance thing, he wouldn't ask about the romance between Rey and Finn, and he was like, oh, they're just friends, but it'll be interesting with the romance thing
in the next
movie, because he's a stormtrooper and doesn't really know how to handle that. So I'm like, yes, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Is Finn being like, oh, crap, I never had to deal with these emotions these things, when he has Kelly Marie Tran to kind of start over with.
So you can do that with Rose, like, you know, he could have his little, like, are you an angel moment, and then I'll be like, good job,
I'm just
kid.
really excited, and I hope they just have awkward human things Finn. And that's why I'm really excited that it looks like it's going to be pretty split between, like, the Finn arc and the Rey arc.
Yes.
And he gets to
the rebellion and the Jedi.
But anyway, back to the Rey arc. It'll be kind of interesting to see if Rey comes to terms with disagreeing with the Jedi, how she will kind of feel about, obviously she's going through some sort of training. We see Luke kind of standing behind watching her swing around a lightsaber like a fool. Yeah. She looks really cute doing it, but it doesn't look like she really knows what she's doing.
Well, because he's probably not teaching her any forms, because he's probably not going to want to teach her in the beginning, and eventually she's probably just going to have to be like, look, he's coming for me. I know he is, and I'm going to need to have to learn how to defend myself, and if you won't teach me, then I'll teach myself.
And it'll be great. And I think that's actually, because I assume there's just got to be a time skip. And I'd find it actually really interesting if the time skip happens on the island, so Rey's gone for, like, a significant amount of time, and
nobody goes after them.
and even in this time, I mean, if Kylo is there or not there, but when she comes back to the Resistance, there's been a significant amount of time that's passed, and she kind of sees that, like, her friends have not moved on, but
they've had a life.
They've had a life, and so she kind of gets these, like, kind of flashbacks of being abandoned again, even though they didn't abandon her. I don't think they'd ever abandon her.
I can 100% see that. Like, she comes back and
nothing for her she only saw Luke and probably Kylo.
But
she'll go
awake.
back, Finn's back, and they've found a bunch of new people, and they have Kelly Marie Tran
He's
now.
got this good decor with this other girl, and of course they'd be ecstatic to see her again, but I definitely feel like if that is a thing that happens, it would be a very strong narrative.
And I do think, just in more lessons, I think Rey's going to learn that having a family wouldn't have solved all of her issues, and I think she does blame... I think that's actually where her sympathy or empathy for Kylo will start, because I think Rey thinks that if she just had a family, all of her issues would have been solved, and obviously, however she learns about Kylo and what he went through, she's going to eventually come to terms with, even if I had, some people have this family circle and something's just wrong in their head, and it wasn't enough. They could just the
family doesn't know how to deal with it.
So, obviously we kind of know that Kylo and Rey form some sort of understanding with each other, or Kylo or Rey begins to feel some sort of empathy. Obviously we know Kylo kind of is humanized in this movie. Another really interesting thing that Adam Driver said is when asked if Kylo survives this movie, his answer was, depends on your definition of living. And I think that's going to be... I'm just so excited for this character.
I got really excited because I was like, oh god, it is Vader in backwards.
It is!
And I want it so bad. I want to watch Kylo Ren die and Ben get born.
Yeah.
If that's
I want to watch him come back.
Yeah.
But, again, I'm thinking somewhere in my current prediction of the film's ending, it's, well, like I said, Kylo being kicked to the curb, Snoke gets Rey instead after realizing that the reason Kylo was weak was because he had this family tying him back, and he's too sensy. He's too sensy, and he had these connections that he's still, no matter how much he tried, we're still destroying him and still holding him back. And then he's like, oh, this Force-sensitive girl who's even stronger than you are? Guess what she doesn't have? A family. So...
she still has a sense of, dedication to them, but I can get rid of that real quick.
But even at that point, she might not anymore, because she might learn what happened to them or who they were.
That's true.
So she could be completely done.
The way that I could see him dealing with it is by him telling her the truth. And be like, this is what happened. Forget them. They're literally never coming back for you, and they never were going to.
Your family shits.
Yeah.
Man. And I think no matter what, I'm basically on... obviously...
Team Empirical Roots.
Yeah, we're, ideally Kenobi, and that'd be great. But realistically, I think her family were honestly just wanted to leave that planet. And they would have done... They were like, we don't... You, small child, we'll do anything. We want to leave. This planet sucks. This planet's lifeless. And even if Rey was showing signs of being Force-sensitive and it kind of scared them a little bit, they're like, peace out. We'll trade this kid for a ship to leave. We're coming back, I swear, but...
No, yeah, we'll totally be back. See you tomorrow.
Just getting groceries off-world.
Yep. And Rey's like, when is tomorrow? And they're like, it's tomorrow. We're like, tomorrow never comes. It's always today.
So, yeah, anyway... I think Rey and Kylo will still be essentially Jedi.
Yeah.
I don't think the term... actually, I would love it if the Jedi really ended.
I would.
But
again, we've talked about this from, a marketing standpoint. They're not going to let go.
I just think they're just going to redefine what it means.
Yes, I think they're just going to change the teachings and... have the Jedi be more about walking this balance and finding inner peace and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mentioned this before. It's I'm excited to see if that means that you yourself have to be balanced, or if that means finding someone else that balances you.
Yeah.
And I think it could go either way, honestly, depending on what story they want to tell. Anyway, guys, there's a lot more Star Wars to talk about, but I feel like that's a good place to end our wrap-up of everything that we've...
All the new news.
All the new news that is happening. There's a lot I'm excited for, a lot that I'm nervous about. Right now, I haven't heard of anything too bad.
No.
But
I'm just a nervous person. I just have anxiety.
And
So,
Rey Skywalker is haunting me on a daily basis.
yep. Just constantly, I'm just like, but what if they just...
Why do people want Luke to be a crappy dad?
Why do they want all of our original heroes to be crappy parents?
I don't know.
Why do they want all of them? We already had 2 out of 3. We don't need 3 out of 3.
Anyway, guys,
Oh.
tune in next week for Merch Week, where every day of the week we're going to show you some cool merch, Star Wars merch, that we either got at Celebration
Or in Disney or something.
Disney or whatever.
Just gonna rub it in your face.
So we actually won't have a podcast for you next week, but you have 5 to catch up on.
Yes.
So...
And they were all long.
Very long. We did a very good
I
job.
thought this was gonna be a short one.
This was...
We talk a lot.
If I get to talk about Kylo, I think he's such a fascinating character. My little Dark Knight prince.
Who's very sad
He's
now.
very sad.
Have you seen me on Battlefront? I'm very sad. Are you sure you don't want to pre-order my game?
It's so... But he even... If you put, like, how Rey's, like, looking and how Kylo's looking, Rey looks like the bad guy.
He's like, oh no, she's mad at me.
She's like, what did I do this time?
Oh no, she's gonna pull on my hair.
It'll go hurt so bad. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening to Thank you for listening to another episode of Who Talks First. I am CT.
I'm Solo.
And we'll see you next week for a bunch of cool videos. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube if you're watching the videos on there, or subscribe to us on iTunes if you're listening here.
Yeah, leave us a comment, leave us a review, leave us a thumbs up, leave us
Validate
anything.
us in any sort of way.
Yeah, any way that you can. You can tweet at us. We could, anything to make us feel like we matter in this universe.
We'll see you next time. Bye.